He turned to face his team, his expression serious but calm. "This war," he said, "will not be won through fear or panic. It will be won through patience, strategy, and unity. For the first time in human history, every nation on this planet must work as one." He looked at the screen showing world leaders finally standing together, united against a common threat. Humanity has always been divided by borders, by language, by beliefs, Reyes continued. But today, we've been given a reason to stand together. He clenched his fist slightly. "And together," he said, "we will show this galaxy exactly why some old legends should never have been forgotten." That night, as the world prepared for the next wave of attack, Maya Chen sat quietly in her lab, staring at data from the strange alien signals she had discovered earlier that day. David walked in, exhausted, holding 2 cups of coffee. He handed one to Maya and sat down beside her. "Can you believe this?" David said, shaking his head. "Aliens, real aliens. And apparently our government's been hiding warships under Central Park for 50 years. Maya smiled faintly, still staring at her screen. "Humanity's full of secrets, apparently." David looked at her curiously. "You don't seem scared." Maya thought for a moment before answering. "I am scared," she admitted. "But I'm also proud, somehow. We've spent centuries fighting each other over borders and politics. But the moment a real threat showed up, we stood together instead of falling apart." David nodded slowly, considering her words. "Do you think we can win this?" he asked quietly. Maya looked at the images of the massive alien fleet retreating to Earth's moon, preparing to return with reinforcements. "I don't know," she admitted honestly. "But I know one thing for certain." "What's that?" Maya turned to face him, her eyes filled with quiet determination. "They have no idea what they've truly awakened." Above Earth's moon, the Cauldron fleet gathered in the darkness, preparing for their next assault. Commander Thalzurog stood at the front of his ship, staring down at the small blue planet that had humiliated his empire. "Commander," Cressa said softly, standing beside him, "do you truly believe we can win this war?" Thalzurog remained silent for a long moment, his eyes fixed on Earth below. "I believe," he finally said, "that we have made a terrible mistake in coming here." He turned to face Cressa, his expression serious. "But it is too late to turn back now," he said. "The Empire demands victory. And so, victory we must have, whatever the cost." Cressa nodded silently, though doubt lingered in her eyes, as the two stood together, watching the reinforcements arrive, hundreds more ships joining the fleet. Neither of them noticed the quiet, confident smile that had begun to form on Colonel Reyes's face, far below on Earth. For humanity had one final secret still hidden, and it was far more terrifying than anything the Cauldron had seen so far. Above Earth's moon, the Cauldron fleet had grown massive. What started as a few hundred ships had now become over 2,000. Golden light from distant stars reflected off their dark hulls, making the fleet look like a swarm of metal insects waiting to strike. Commander Thalzurog stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the reinforcements arrive one by one. This time, there would be no mistakes. This time, Earth would fall. "Commander," Cressa said, approaching him with a datapad in hand, "all reinforcement fleets have arrived. We are ready to begin the second invasion." Thalzurog nodded slowly. "Good. This time, we do not send troops down first. We destroy their hidden bases from orbit. No warships, no soldiers, no chance for them to surprise us again." Cressa hesitated. "Commander, if we bombard from orbit, millions of civilians could die." Thalzurog turned to her, his yellow eyes cold. "They embarrassed the Empire, Cressa. They must learn the price of resistance." He raised his hand toward the fleet's communication officer. "Begin the bombardment," he ordered. "Target every major city." But humanity was already watching. Deep inside Project Nightfall, Colonel Reyes stood before a massive screen showing the alien fleet's movements. His face remained calm, but his eyes were sharp and focused. "Sir," a technician said urgently. The Cauldron fleet is powering up orbital weapons. They're preparing to bombard our cities directly. Reyes nodded slowly. He had expected this. When an enemy loses through strategy, they often turn to brute force. Activate the shield network, Reyes ordered calmly. The technician's eyes widened slightly. Sir, the shield network hasn't been tested at full capacity. We don't know if... Activate it, Reyes repeated firmly. Now. Above the planet, Thalzurog gave the final command. Fire. Thousands of energy beams shot down from the Cauldron fleet, aiming directly at Earth's largest cities. For a brief moment, it looked like nothing could stop the devastating attack. Then something remarkable happened. A massive, invisible barrier shimmered into existence around the entire planet. The beams struck the shield and scattered harmlessly into space, unable to penetrate the protective barrier. Inside the flagship, officers stared at their screens in shock. "Commander!" an officer shouted. "Our attacks are being completely blocked. Some kind of planetary shield." Thalzurog's hands tightened into fists. "That is not possible. No species in this galaxy has ever built a shield capable of protecting an entire planet." Cressa stared at the readings, her voice trembling slightly. "Commander, I don't think this species is anything like we've ever encountered before. Down on Earth, cities that should have been destroyed remained untouched. People who had been hiding in fear slowly stepped outside, looking up at the sky in disbelief as they realized they had survived. In New York City, Maya Chen stood outside her lab, staring up at the shimmering blue light covering the entire sky. Tears filled her eyes, not from fear, but from overwhelming relief. "They protected us," she whispered. "They actually protected us." David stood beside her, equally amazed. 50 years, he said quietly. 50 years of secrets, and it turns out humanity's been quietly building something incredible this entire time. Maya nodded slowly, watching the alien fleet above, clearly confused and frustrated by their failed attack. "They're not going to stop," she said quietly. "Not after this humiliation." David looked at her, worry creeping into his eyes. "Do you think we can survive what's coming next?" Maya didn't answer immediately. She simply stared up at the sky, remembering something her grandfather once told her. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't its weapons or its technology. It was its refusal to ever give up, no matter how impossible the odds seemed. "We have to," she finally said. Aboard the Cauldron flagship, Thalzurog received another furious transmission from the High Council. The elderly counselor's face was filled with rage. "Explain this failure immediately, Commander," the counselor shouted. "An entire fleet and you cannot even damage a single city?" Thalzurog remained calm despite the counselor's fury. "Counselor, this species possesses defensive technology far beyond anything we've encountered. A planetary shield capable of blocking our entire fleet's firepower." The counselor's anger slowly turned into something else. Concern. "This is troubling news," the counselor admitted. Perhaps we should reconsider this invasion." "Counselor," Thalzurog said firmly, "if we retreat now, word will spread across the galaxy. Other species will see our failure. Our empire's reputation will be permanently damaged." The counselor considered this carefully before responding. "Then find another way, Commander," he said finally. "Whatever the cost, Earth must fall. The Empire's honor depends on it." The transmission ended, leaving Thalzurog standing alone with his thoughts. He turned to Cressa, who had been listening silently nearby. "Gather our scientists," he ordered. "There must be a way to break through their shield." Meanwhile, deep within Project Nightfall, Colonel Reyes gathered his top military leaders and scientists for an urgent meeting. "The shield held," Reyes said, addressing the room. "But we all know it won't hold forever. The Cauldron will find a weakness eventually." A scientist named Dr. Elena Voss stepped forward. "Colonel, our shield technology is strong, but it requires massive amounts of energy. If they find a way to overload our power reserves, the shield could fail." Reyes nodded grimly. "Then we need to strike first. We can't simply wait behind our shield forever." General Hayes, sitting nearby, spoke up. Sir, if we attack their fleet directly, we risk exposing more of our technology. We still have secrets they haven't seen yet. Reyes turned to him, his expression serious. Sometimes, General, the only way to end a war quickly is to show the enemy exactly what they're truly facing, before they force us into an even longer, bloodier conflict. He looked around the room at the tired but determined faces of humanity's greatest defenders. It's time, Reyes said quietly, to reveal Nightfall's true purpose. 2 days later, the Caldron fleet attempted a new strategy. Instead of attacking Earth cities directly, they targeted the planet's power grids and satellite systems, hoping to weaken the shield's energy source indirectly. Slowly, sections of the shield began to flicker and weaken. Inside Project Nightfall, alarms rang through the control room. "Sir," a technician shouted, "shield integrity dropping in the Western Hemisphere. If this continues, we'll have a gap within the hour." Reyes remained calm, though his eyes narrowed with determination. "It's time," he said quietly. "Prepare Nightfall Squadron for immediate deployment." High above Earth, hidden within secret orbital stations that had never been detected by Caldron scanners, something incredible began to activate. Sleek black fighters, faster and more advanced than anything humanity had shown so far, emerged silently from hidden hangars built directly into asteroids positioned strategically around Earth's orbit. These were Nightfall Squadron, Earth's most secretive and advanced military unit trained and prepared for over 2 decades for exactly this moment. Leading them was Captain Sarah Mitchell, a skilled and fearless pilot who had trained her entire adult life for this exact mission. "Nightfall Squadron," she said calmly through her comms. "Today, we show them exactly why humanity should never be underestimated." Her fighters shot forward, moving with incredible speed directly toward the Caldron fleet. Aboard the Caldron flagship, officers noticed the new threat too late. "Commander," an officer shouted, "unidentified fighters approaching at incredible speed. We've never seen this technology before." Thalzurog's eyes widened as he watched dozens of small, sleek human fighters weave effortlessly through his fleet's defenses, striking critical systems with precise, devastating accuracy. "Impossible," he whispered. "How can primitive humans possess technology this advanced?" Cressa, standing beside him, finally spoke the truth neither of them wanted to accept. "Commander," she said quietly, "I don't believe humanity is primitive at all. I believe they've been hiding their true strength from the entire galaxy, waiting patiently for centuries." Thalzurog said nothing, watching helplessly as human fighters continued their relentless assault, destroying ship after ship with terrifying efficiency. Back on Earth, Colonel Reyes watched the battle unfold with quiet satisfaction. Nightfall Squadron moved exactly as trained, striking quickly and retreating before the Caldron could properly respond. "Sir," General Hayes said, watching the screen in amazement, "their success rate is incredible. We're inflicting heavy damage with minimal losses." Reyes nodded slowly. "Humanity has always been at its most dangerous when pushed to its limits. Today, the galaxy begins to understand that truth."